Our answer is going to be every number between the two roots. So we're going to say x has to be between, and we're not going to put greater or less than, because we're looking at values that have to be less than 0. So here, these values right here at the roots, they give you y values that are actually equal to 0. So we're looking at 1, 0, and then this coordinate here is -6, 0. We don't want to involve or include any number or any of these roots, because these roots give you a y value that is equal to 0. We're not asking for values that give you, we're not asking for x values that give you a y value 0. We're asking for x values that give you a y that is less than 0. So we can't have x being like equal to, like the equal sign under. That's not right. It has to be x is greater or less than, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to put the x values here. So x, we're going to put the bigger x value in such a way that it's greater than x, and then the smaller value technically is -6. We're going to put it being less than x. So you can write it this way, or you might write it this way. Again, the bigger value, which is 1 or -6, but the bigger value, 1, has to be greater than x, and x has to be greater than the smaller number, okay? So that's your answer right there. Instead of giving me two roots, I'm essentially saying all values of x between 1 and -6 will give you values that are less than 0. Okay, you kind of understand that? You're pretty much finished at this point, but the example, there's a part where it asks you to like check, okay? What it is you have to test. I'm not gonna go through this. I'm gonna save some time. You can pause this video, but what you have to do is you have to. Oh, by the way, this is again the way I wrote the answer. I put x with the slash. That means x has to be any value such that it has to be like in between -6 and 1. That, and I wrote brackets around that, okay? So that's the actual answer. Don't worry about the word justifies. And what you have to do is you have to test 3 numbers that are either in between -6 and 1, bigger than like 1, or less than less than -6. Because what I'm trying to say is, again, here's your parabola. And we said all the values, I'm going to write this in red, all the values between these two roots, we're saying all these values in between these two roots are going to give you y values that are less than 0, but we have to test that. So in your example, I believe in your example, it's example 2, example number 2 on page 208, it has a situation where it asks you to test 3 different numbers. It's just a check to see if your numbers are right. You don't have to do this, but what this is like, remember I told you x is equal to 1, and the root over here is equal to x is equal to -6. I'm plugging in values that are either between -6 and 1, which is -3. Also testing a number that's kind of to the right of +1, which is 2, or testing a number that's to the left of -6, which is -7, to the left, meaning it's more negative, okay? And then what happens is when I test them out, you can pause this, okay? Meaning when I test them out, I plug it back into the original equation, and I want to see if it's true. Is like, when I put in -7, did it give me a value that's actually less than 0? Look, when I plugged in -7, look what happened. When I plugged it in, my final answer was 8. 0 is greater than 8. That's not true. So guess what? So far, my conclusion of the numbers have to be between -6 and 1 are that it justifies it. It's good because this number is outside of the range of -6 and 1. Okay, so if this was true, I would have a problem. But right now, that's not true, so that's good. Now let's test it again. If I put a number in between -6 and 1, like I'm claiming that all the numbers have to be between -6 and 1, I put in a value that's actually between -6 and 1, like -3, And when I plugged it into the equation, look what I get. I get 0 and is greater than negative 12. Is that true? I said yes, it is absolutely true. So that just justifies what I said earlier. Okay, any value that's between negative 6 and 1 will give me values, y values that are less than 0. Okay, so that's true. Then I tested a number outside the range again to the right, which was 2. Okay, and then I got 8. Like I plugged in 2 in here and I got 8. Is 0 greater than 8? No. So again, this is awesome because this tells me that, yeah, it can't be a number outside of the range in between these two roots, okay? It can only be